Hey guys, today I'm sharing how I knit names into our family Christmas stockings. These are all designed by Ursula Almeida and I'm using knit picks, palette fingering yarn, and I'll put all that info in the box below. The first step is finding graph paper to draw it out because I'm a visual learner. Even though these stockings are all designed by the same person, the band I'm switching out is a little bit of a different height for each stocking, which means you can't insert the exact same letters in each time. I like to write out the name first to visually remember to give myself stitches, knit with the main color on either side of each letter, and not forgetting the beginning and the end of the name. Now it's time for the math. I take the amount of stitches I cast on and divide by 2 because I'm only adding a name to the front half. For this vintage toy stocking, this section is 8 stitches tall. So again, I'm giving myself a general overview of how it will look. So this is the knitting alphabet chart that I chose. There are lots of fonts if you do a quick Google search, but I wanted something that was classic, not too modern, but also easy for my little readers to read. Now I'm drawing each letter one by one. I like to try to keep the letters 2 stitches wide where I can. And this process is a combination of using the knitting alphabet chart and doodling it into the actual space you have to work with, because you won't always find a font that you like and already it's fit to the size you need it to be. Some letters are easy to shrink or to make longer, but some of them you need to kind of wrestle through a little bit. When I doodled out the N for my last stocking, I needed to make it much shorter than the chart because I had a shorter space, and I had to keep playing around with it to keep it from looking like an H. If you have a short name, you can count up the number of stitches between the letters in the actual boxes, or you can just leave one square and write the number of stitches that you're going to use. I like the look of having 3 stitches between each letter. I recommend using a pencil because you're just sketching and you'll probably need to erase and try different things. I also make little dots to separate the letter blocks. As you're working the letters row by row, you might hit a row where the letter has an extra indent or it goes further out, and you don't want to forget and just give yourself the 3 stitches in between. You need to knit 3 stitches in the main color between each letter block, but sometimes, for example in the C, it will indent at the top and again really indent in the middle of the letter. Okay, art is over and it's time for math again. I count the width of each letter and I write it underneath, then add together the 3 stitches in between each letter, but not counting the ends yet. My letters are a total of 40 stitches wide all together, and since I have 60 stitches on this half of the stocking, I subtract 40 from 60 and I'm left with 20 stitches, so I can have 10 stitches of main color before the L and 10 stitches of the main color after the Y to make it nice and centered and even. And it all adds up to the 60 stitches across, and they all fit in the 8 stitches top to bottom. A few things to remember: if you're knitting a stocking top down, you'll actually be knitting the letters upside down but not backwards. For example, when I worked this stocking, this was the start of the round and you just work the letters row by row on the chart. As I go row by row, I cross off the row I finished so I remember where I'm at. Since it's also knit in the round, once you get through the letters across 60 stitches, you're going to follow the pattern on the other side as is, unless you're adding in something else, maybe a middle name or a different motif. I hope this was helpful and I hope it made sense, and thank you guys for watching it. Thanks.